So we're out foraging today. It's a lovely spring day in mid-March and it's the perfect time to be picking an abundant spring green that most of you will know well, wild garlic. So we're here standing along a running stream, which is a perfect spot where wild garlic often grows. So it loves kind of shady, damp woodlands, banks. So we're going to come and have a look at the plant closer, and I'm going to show you just how to identify it, what to look out for, and things to be aware of when you're picking. So wild garlic, also known as ramsons, bear garlic, and in Somerset they call it the onion stinkers because of the strong, overpowering smell. You can even smell as you're walking by, the whiff of garlic is very strong. So all parts of this plant are edible. You can use the bulb, although I wouldn't advise digging it up. Even though it's abundant, it is illegal in the UK to dig up wild plants. So you use the leaves, you can use the seed pods, and you can use the flowers later in the season, so they can be added to salads, savoury dishes, because they've still got that really strong garlicky scent, but they look really pretty. A nice thing to use as a chef. How to identify wild garlic? Number one indicator is the smell. Just crush it in between your hands and it releases that really strong, unmistakable garlic aroma. So wild garlic is an allium, so it means it's part of the onion family. So same family as your chives, onions and garlic. Dark green glossy leaves with a ribbing on the back. The only thing that you might get confused with possibly is lily of the valley, which is a deadleaf plant. That one's not as dark and glossy, the leaves. And the leaves don't come from the base, they come halfway through up the stem, and they've got the white bell-shaped flowers. But just something to be aware of when you're picking, but always use your nose and you can't go too wrong. So the health benefits of wild garlic, really good for you. In the Celts and Roman times they used to call wild garlic the healing herb, and doctors used to use it for all manner of things. As a diuretic, they used to use it on wounds, and there's been proven studies nowadays that show that wild garlic is really good for lowering your blood pressure, good for the heart, antibacterial, antiseptic, yeah, good thing to include in your diet when you can. So it's good to make use of it now. We're going to pick as much as we can and then we're going to take it back to the house. I'm going to show you how to preserve it for the coming months so you can use it throughout the summer. So on our way home we're looking for some spring edibles to add to a salad. So in this meadow I've come across this guy, which is common sorrel. So another chef's favourite because it's got a really distinctive lemony citrus flavour. The key indicator for sorrel is the tips. So you see these sharp-ended tips to the leaf. So you know you've got common sorrel. So we're going to pick a few of these to add to our salad. I probably should say that lords and ladies. So common sorrel, as I say, those pointed tips is what you're looking for. You do need to be aware of lords and ladies though, which can look similar. Lord and ladies are kind of the lily, much bigger plants, and their tips are rounded, whereas the common sorrel is pointed. So just make sure you have got a distinct point to the leaf. Okay, so we found another wild green that we can use in our salads. And this stuff is really lovely, really easy eating. It's called winter purslane, also known as miner's lettuce. It's really mild, really kind of succulent and really easy eating, just like lamb's lettuce. And there's loads of it here, so we're going to pick some for our salads. So as you can see, similar to the purslane that you find on the coast, sea purslane, it's got that kind of similar purslane shape to it, almost like an arrowhead. And it just looks just like kind of lamb's lettuce. Quite easy to spot, and it's everywhere now. There they are. So we're taking our wild garlic forage down to the woodland, and I'm going to show you 3 ways to preserve your wild garlic. So as I was saying earlier, it's lovely to pick it whilst it's in season, but as a chef, really I want to prolong its life, preserve it and use it throughout the summer. So there's 3 ways that I like to do this. Number 1, the easiest method, wild garlic butter. So really simple, this will keep in the fridge for ages. You can infuse it with all sorts of herbs. You can add tarragon, you could add some edible flowers to make it look pretty. Another really good option, wild garlic oil. So just simply wild garlic that's been whizzed up in a food processor, infused overnight and then strained, and then this will keep for months in a dark, kind of cool area in your pantry. So the third way I like to preserve it is wild garlic kimchi, which is slightly fermented, and this stores really nicely once it's fermented for a few weeks in your fridge. So 3 really useful ways to preserve your garlic. Okay, so I'm going to make my wild garlic butter. We just need 3 ingredients for this. So I've got some salted butter. This is a West Country butter, so it's nice quality. Some sea salt, and I've got about 25 grams of our wild garlic from earlier. So simply I'm just going to finely chop my wild garlic. So as finely sliced as you can. Try not to crush it too much, otherwise you're going to lose that vivid green colour. So with a nice sharp knife. Okay. So your wild garlic's going to go into the butter. Best to say, make sure your butter is soft enough so you can spoon it through. So I'm just going to warm this by the fire for a minute. Get it nice and soft. So now that's softened a little bit, I'm going to pop our garlic in to the bowl. A really good pinch of fine sea salt. And you're just going to mash that through. Okay, so I'm going to spoon this into a little bit of baking parchment. We're going to roll it up. Nice log shape. So it's probably a little bit too soft now, but it'll be easier in the kitchen at home. So get it into a nice log shape and then tighten. And then this can go in the fridge until you need it. So you'll end up something like that. It's going to be perfect for just adding on to steaks last minute, chicken, all sorts of recipes. Really handy to have in the fridge all year round. Okay, wild garlic, fairly self-explanatory, but you want to get some fairly flavourless oil, something like rapeseed or a light olive oil. Get a couple of handfuls of your wild garlic, whiz it in a food processor, add your oil, then allow that to steep overnight, 24 hours, and then you're just going to sieve that out into a bottle, and you should end up with a lovely green garlicky oil, like so. Okay, I'm just going to talk through the kimchi. It's a bit rough and ready here, but you'll get the picture. So it's a little bit of a process. So you're going to start off by salting your wild garlic. So I'm going to take a handful here, and we're just going to roughly chop it. We don't want it too fine because we want a little bit of texture. So traditionally you would do this with napa cabbage, daikon radish or carrots, but it does work really nicely with the garlic. So just roughly chopped, you don't need to be too precious. So at home you want a big bowl, so we're just going to layer the wild garlic. So I normally use 2 heaped teaspoons per 500 grams. So we're just going to do a little pinch here. So a pinch of salt. Layer it again. Another pinch of salt. And this is going to release all the water. So the next process is massaging your wild garlic. So using some gloves at home, you would massage the salt into the wild garlic to draw out the water. So give it a good massage for a couple of minutes. Then you will leave that for a couple of hours. You'll come back to it, massage it again, and you're going to get lots of the liquid drawing out. So at that point, once the liquid is drawn out from it, it might take a few hours. See how you go. You're going to need 3 ingredients. Some garlic, extra garlic, as if it wasn't garlicky enough. So we're just going to add a crushed garlic clove. There'll be a link in the description for the proper recipe if you want exact quantities, but this is just to give you an idea. So crushed garlic, and then some fresh ginger, okay. Then the secret ingredient, not so secret, gochujang, which is a fermented hot pepper paste which they use in traditional kimchi recipes, and that's got a really kind of rich umami flavour. But if you can't get this, you could use some red pepper Korean flakes or just some chili flakes. Use a dollop of that. Mix that all in. So once it's had a couple of hours and it's all mixed in, you're going to pack it into your jam jar. So like I say, it should have lots of liquid by this point, so you're really going to pack it into your jar. So this one's only a few days old, so you can see there's all liquid in it. So you're going to pack it down. If there isn't quite enough liquid to submerge it, keep coming back to it and squishing it down. And you're going to leave that partially covered, so you might use a muslin cloth or the jam jar just on the top, but not completely covered. Ideally something like a muslin cloth so it can breathe. And you're going to set that in your kind of kitchen somewhere kind of warmish, not too hot, and that's going to ferment over the course of about a week, or you could leave up to 2 weeks, and it's going to get tangier and tangier the more you leave it. So normally about 6 to 12 days. keep pressing it down, and then you can put the lid on and that will store in the fridge for months. That's my quick wild garlic kimchi. So 3 really quick and easy ways to preserve your garlic: butter, oil and your kimchi. Just going to generously salt our steak, a little bit of wild garlic oil just to stop it from sticking. Massage that in. That's going to go on the embers.